nitrogen mission with a bold target producing an astounding 5 million.
Good afternoon and a very good greeting to all of us who are present at the August gathering. I would request all of us to please put our mobile phones on silent mode since it's a formal gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, just a small reminder for all of us to please put our mobile phones on silent mode before we start. Thank you so much. I would also request everyone to be kindly seated. We are all set and about to begin now. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all our energy leaders, all our enthusiasts, all our experts who have joined us all across the globe. A very warm and hearty welcome to all of you. My name is Ruchi Singh and I take immense pride and happiness to be joining as your MC and welcoming you all to second edition of International Conference on Green Hydrogen India 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin this afternoon by putting some energy to the room. Thank you so much. Thank you. The topic that we are going to discuss here is green ammonia and fertilizer industry. Ladies and gentlemen, if we talk about in the current scenario, ammonia today is greatly used at feedstock for fertilizers across the globe, thereby supporting 48% of global population. India consumes close to 21 million metric ton per annum of ammonia as feedstock for making urea and complex fertilizers. Today, ammonia used in the fertilizer production is made using the process of steam methane reforming, hydrogen extracted from natural gas and then made to combine with nitrogen from air to produce ammonia. Ladies and gentlemen, the major points that we are discussing here would be transition plan towards adoption, green ammonia adoption and use, exporting fertilizers in the era of CBAM, pricing mechanism to reduce the gap between green ammonia and gray ammonia. And for this session, I'm really privileged to announce our chair, our moderator, and our eminent speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and help me invite on the podium our chair, Shri Narinder Bhooshan, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Government of Uttar Pradesh. So I request you to please join us on the podium for a session.
You want me to speak? Okay. Good afternoon, friends. So, thank you. It is a bit of surprise for me. I thought everyone will come and then we will speak. Let me, this is a very nostalgic for me. At one time, I worked as Joint Secretary INM, the Fertilizer Controller of India. So, I understand a bit of fertilizer industry. But today, as Principal Secretary Renewals, Government of Uttar Pradesh, I have come to speak a little about what is the type of viability gap funding, since it is in green hydrogen, we are in nascent stage, and we have to compare with gray hydrogen, gray ammonia. So what UP government is doing to attract all the industry captains who are sitting here. We know because of this impact of climate change, we see extreme weather, landslides. We have just seen extremely hot weather in India. I am also Principal Secretary of Electricity Power Sector also. So it was a huge challenge from April to June. And our Prime Minister Modi, he has given this India's Panch Amrit commitment to net zero, which I think has galvanized many sectors of renewable energy, and green hydrogen is one of them. So this definitely is bringing many benefits apart from positive impact on climate change, but energy security, where first time India aspires to become actually an exporter of energy as compared to the fossil energy, where a lot of important dependency is there. And combining our hands, strengthening the hands of Honorable Prime Minister, our Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath also wants UP to play a very important role in this journey, despite being landlocked state. So we have some comparative disadvantage is being a landlocked state, because initial green hydrogen or green ammonia in India, we see like, I think, a lot of interest in the export potential of green hydrogen and green ammonia. So UP, first, I talk about, just in 1 minute, I talk about the demand sector. There is a lot of demand. We have fertilizer sector, fertilizer, lot many industries, talking about Babrala, Yara, then IFCO, Jagdishpur, Phulpur, Gorakhpur. Many plants are there, but most of them are urea-based plants. And presently, I think the urea industry is slightly waiting and watching and saying that because they produce carbon dioxide also. But again, the point I wanted to, at some point, we will have to look at these things also. Mathura refinery is there. Presently, they have started at Panipat refinery, and Mathura refinery is next in line for using green hydrogen, and we will see some demand there. We have steel industry. Some big ones are in Gorakhpur, but scattered all over UP. And then other UP is already, historically, we have seen clusters of industry like Firozabad Glass Industries, again, a big user of hydrogen, etc. Mobility will play very, very important role in Uttar Pradesh. We have like tourist and religious centers like Ayodhya, Varanasi, and other things. UP being home to 25 crore or 250 million population is a huge market. So even logistics, the heavy trucks, etc., will have huge market there. And CGD blending, again, because of the size itself, CGD, when we will ensure some mandatory blending, government of India will come out, there will be huge market in UP also. UP, probably most of you will know, is the most reformed state on land order and crime front, because of our visionary leader and his no-nonsense approach of our visionary Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji. And in terms of infrastructure also, you must be leading with the largest airport of India at Jewar, which will start functioning next year. We have presently 9 airports, and then 4 of them are international, and then another 8 airports coming. We are the biggest beneficiary, because transport will be very important for green of eastern and western dedicated freight corridors. Both are intersecting in UP. We have like metros and everything, and about 40% of the India's expressways are presently in UP, and national highways of course a very large number of them. But the point which I wanted to talk about is the policy, our very, very attractive policy. Ease of doing business, you will be knowing, I think in 2019, we jumped 12 position to come second. And after that, we have been getting consistently the first ranking, ease of doing business, in the first ranked category. We have solar policy, because green hydrogen is very closely linked to solar policy also. We have announced a very, very comprehensive solar policy in year 2022 with a target of 22 gigawatt. Out of that, 14 gigawatt will be utility level solar industries, and out of them 7,000 megawatts, 7 gigawatts projects are being implemented. So we are ahead of our targets. 14 gigawatt we have to achieve by 2070, and we are hopeful to exceed that. We have a bioenergy policy also in CBG, in bioethanol. We are already the first one in India in terms of all the states. But coming to green hydrogen policy, since, as I said, basically viability gap funding is the main issue. And we have set up a target of, which is of course very, very ambitious target, 1 million metric tons of capacity to be set up in Uttar Pradesh. And that is where I have come to request all of you. We have proposed 2 centers of excellences in our policy. We have invited bids from institutes like IIT. The last date has elapsed, and we have got 3 proposals from different IIT institutes, etc. And we will be giving, this grant is 50 crores. The whole idea is basically how to reduce cost of production of the whole supply chain. Hydrogen gas production, electrolyzer production, everything. And they will be incubating startups also. So that will be the one primary objective, and these center of excellence will be sanctioned in next 2 months. Then we have, as I talked about renewable sector, so we have exempted electricity duty, transmission charges, wheeling charges, cross subsidy charges on production of renewables for first 10 years. But the basic point which I have been talking again and again is the price differential between imported grade imported or otherwise produced gray ammonia and the green ammonia, which needs to be taken care. So our policy provides three options for any investor. The first one is straightway 30% capital subsidy. So you set up any plant, and for first 5 plants, we have an additional booster of 5 to 10% for ultra mega projects, which means an investment of more than rupees 3,000 crores, and mega, which means an investment of rupees 500 to 3,000 crores. So there is an additional capital subsidy booster of 5 to 10%. For first 5 projects, we had issued our advertisement on 5th of August. So first month, we have received 3 proposals, which we are evaluating now. There is scope for further 2 investors getting selected in this first 5, and the last date will be 5th of October. So I request to take advantage of that also. But the 30% capital subsidy option will remain after that till we reach the 1 MMT target. And this is one of the 3 options. The other option presently is reimbursement of GST. So as I understand, so we actually reimburse net SGST for 20 years, but then the reimbursement can go up to 300% of your investment in 20 years. So if you are investing 3,000 crores, you can get 9,000 crores, depending on how much net SGST amounts to. The third one is PLI. Government of India has come out with PLI, known as a site, etc. So we straightway, if that becomes easier for you, we top up by 30% of whatever you get within 1 week, whatever you get sanctioned by Government of India, within 1 week of that, we will sanction 15% of that. So these were a few points. Apart from that, there are other advantages like exemption on stamp duty, exemption on electricity duty, etc. There are some smaller advantages also. So, and we have single window system. You just apply and we will ensure that all the clearances you get, we have given white industry status to all of this. So my request is basically, because gray hydrogen, as I said, gray ammonia, puts up lot of potential for import substitution, for saving important forex, and first time projecting India as like the country, as one of the leaders, and UP also aspires to become the leader. So I took detour, I think, from the technical aspects, which you will discuss, and I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I will be here for some time because I have a competing session also there. I will be like presenting more details on similar incentives being offered by government of Uttar Pradesh. It is in one of the rooms nearby. So those who are interested may join that session also. It is immediately after this session. Thank you. And I welcome all other, because being the chair, I welcome all other speakers also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And we are truly honored to welcome you as our chair for the coming up session. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we just heard Mr. Narendra Bhooshan. He's 1992 batch IAS officer of UP cadre and is Additional Chief Secretary, Government of Uttar Pradesh. He was posted as Mission Director, National Food Security Mission, India. Later on, he served as DDG of world-famous Aadhaar project, UIDI, Ministry of IT and Electronics. He was CEO of Greater Noida, UP, where he was on board of SPV NAIL, which is responsible for establishment of Jewar Airport. And we all know Jewar Airport is it is going to be the largest airport in India. He is currently working as Principal Secretary, Government of UP, Science and Technology Department, and also DGCST UP. Sir, we are truly honored to welcome you as our chair for the session. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I take great privilege in welcoming our moderator for the session. Please put your hands together and help me welcome Dr. S. Nand, industry expert and former advisor, Fertiliser Association of India. Very, very warm welcome, sir. We are truly honored to have you as our moderator. Shri Nand has over 40 years experience in fertilizer sector. He is an independent consultant. His area of expertise include fertilizer pricing policies, fertilizer production, green ammonia, all issues related to fertilizer sector, energy sector, with special reference to decarbonization. Very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now moving on, and I take great privilege in inviting our eminent speakers, our panelists, please put your hands together and help me welcome on the stage, on the dais, Shri Sanjay Sharma, Director, SECI Limited. Mr. Sharma is the director at Solar Energy Corporation of India, SECI. He is an accomplished professional with over 35 years of experience. He is having expertise across managerial, technical, contractual, commercial, legal, and regulatory facets of the power sector. His career has been marked by significant contribution to transmission, generation, and scheme implementation. Very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Requesting our next panelist, Shri Narinder Goyal, President, Green Ammonia Business, Avaada Group. Mr. Goyal heads Green Ammonia Business at Avaada Group, a specialist in project management and plant operations. Shri Goyal has more than 3 decades of experience with his last stint at Chamber Fertilizers and Chemicals. His experience spans across the nitrogen fertilizer sector, entails successful implementation of mega projects, strategic planning, cross-functional team building, sustained plant operation, and ESG performance. Very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and help me welcome on the dais, Shri Hiren Mehta, Chief Operating Officer, ACME Group. Strategic and transformational business leader having 22 years of work experience in formulating business strategies, managing end-to-end operations, part of senior management team and managing growth objective. Very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Our next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, Shri Vivek Singla, Sir, President and Head Green Hydrogen Business Renew. Let's give a huge round of applause and welcome Sir on the dais. With a career spanning over 3 decades in power sector, Mr. Singla is presently the President and Head of Green Hydrogen and Transmission Business at Renew. In the past, he established many businesses from scratch and turned around few of the businesses, prominent one being establishment of transmission and distribution business at Adani. Very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Inviting our next panelist, Shri V. Vinay, Chief Sustainability Officer, Paradip Phosphate. Very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Mr. Vinay joined Paradip Phosphate in 1998 as CSO, the ESG and Sustainability Initiative, as well as strategic project of the company. He has more than 22 years of experience in process and plant engineering service projects. Very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Inviting our next panelist, Shri Puneet Goyal, sir, Director, ICF. Let's give a big round of applause. Mr. Goyal has over 18 years of diverse experience in oil and gas sector, covering Australia, India, Southeast Asia, and USA. His expertise spans across oil and gas sector and hydrogen, covering demand and supply assessment, regulatory review for oil and gas infrastructure, technical commercial due diligence of gas assets. Very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our eminent speakers, our panelists, we have a chair and our moderator. Now I request S. Nasser, our moderator, to please begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you for all the introduction of all the speakers. With your permission, I think you have enough probably exposure to fertilizers. You talked about viability gap funding, which is very, very crucial. We will probably go through the rigmarole and exercise what are the options, and in addition to what state governments are offering. So to start with, I'll just make a small presentation to set the background. This is the message which is in this slide is that the 3 things which are key to food production, the seed, water, and fertilizers. And the fourth element or fourth dimension, which has been now introduced, is the climate change. But we being the most populous country in the world, the food security is of paramount importance. That's why we cannot have what they call very disruptive environment. Normally you talk of that you introduce disruptive technology and then everything will settle in probably next few years. That chance probably we cannot take here by either disrupting application or production or import of fertilizers. The second slide, this makes an impression that we still are very large, to large extent, very import dependent. We are importing quite a bit number of raw materials, and even the production which you see here is based mainly either imported natural gas, imported rock phosphate, phosphoric acid, and other or ammonia or raw materials. So we remain very, very, very highly import dependent, where probably green hydrogen can play a role, can substitute the gray hydrogen, and hence avoid the import of natural gas. This is more than 80% energy used for making any fertilizer products, urea or non-urea, is consumed in making ammonia. And hence the focus of on ammonia and all the energy efficiency improvement efforts worldwide are benchmarked what you do with the ammonia plant, interventions, technological interventions, and others. Then these are the projections for ammonia production by 2050. This perhaps takes into account for non-fertilizer use, including fuel or as a hydrogen carrier. And at present, 85% is used for making fertilizers. As far as Indian fertilizer plants are concerned, there are about 1.96 ton of CO2 produced, is emitted per ton of ammonia produced. These are average figures. We have, there is a range of plants as far as efficiency is concerned. It is directly proportionate to energy efficiency because for producing ammonia, feed and fuel, remember, are both energy. And most of it is used to produce urea, almost 90%. And 1.3 metric ton out of these 2 tons produced is used for making urea. It's a huge carbon dioxide consumption per ton urea. All imported urea is used for manufacture complex or non-urea fertilizers. We have 44 plants now with the capacity of so much capacity. And thanks to the government initiative some 6-7 years back, we had 6 new large plants, both ammonia and tied up with urea, of course. You mentioned in Gorakhpur, and there's another one in, in Jharkhand and Rajasthan, Telangana. So we have 6 new plants in last 4-5 years. Now, this is the balance of ammonia. We produced 19.6 million ton last year, 23-24. We imported 2.2. We are importing the finished products as well. Remember, we are highly dependent, second largest consumer of fertilizers, and largest importer of fertilizer and fertilizer raw materials. That's why we have a strategy that you import raw materials, you import intermediates like phosphoric acid and ammonia, or sulfuric acid, and you import finished product as well, so that you remain diversified in your in sourcing. So if you are producing these DAP, NP, NPK, and urea here, there was another 5.6 million tons of ammonia. So 27.4 million tons equivalent ammonia we used last year. About 3 million tons is used for non-urea fertilizer, where carbon dioxide is not required, and green ammonia can easily be replace the gray ammonia without any problem except the viability gap. If we are produce additional products which we are importing, we will probably require another 1 million ton fertilizers, ammonia. This I just wanted to show the typical the cost structure of an average plant, and this excludes probably the latest plants where capital-related charges are higher, related to gas cost. This is the cost of production, and we lie somewhere below $15 probably $450, $400. The delivered cost of natural gas, I'm talking. These costs are delivered cost. And natural gas are heavily taxed by state governments. It's not under GST, right up to almost 23, 24% in Andhra, and mostly 10%, 15%, let's say in Gujarat. So this cost is built in, and which is increasing cost of production. Why I'm mentioning that? That is the real economic cost of production of ammonia, which green ammonia has to compete with. These are the imported ammonia, which green ammonia has to right away compete with. Last year, or 22-23 year before, was an exceptional when, because of COVID and then the Ukraine war, the supply chain was disrupted. And not only, ammonia, all other commodities, we imported urea first time at $950, which we used to import at $350 or $400 per ton. But this year in the red line, this is the chart. I will still say for next 5 years, at least, you can take an average cost of around imported ammonia, about long-term cost of $450. I have seen presentations, some people mentioning $600, $650, $700, which may not be true. Then what are the issues? Technical issues have already been mentioned. Carbon dioxide, some of it can be recovered, and some plants have the facilities to recover from furnace flue gases from primary reformer, but you need much more carbon dioxide. We are still already deficient in carbon dioxide because of the lean gas, which is LNG, which has only methane. We are already deficient of carbon and carbon dioxide. So it has to be transported from somewhere. Cost may be anywhere from $30 to $40 per ton urea. I'm just mentioning. So this has to be taken into account. Second thing is, even more important, what do you do with this investment in existing plants? What do you do with them? You can intervene, introduce 5 to 10% green hydrogen directly into synthesis loop without disturbing much the front end of the plant. That's fine. But more than that, if you do, then you operate the front end of the plant at much lower load, and inefficiency or energy consumption will be much higher. Similarly, there are other interventions possible, but then they will require investment in the front end, and then it has implication of cost. You all know that it's highly regulated sector, and we cannot, or industry cannot, sell at a price a rupee more than regulated by the government. So there are financial issues. There are $350 to $400. Site program under policy, this green hydrogen policy takes care about $100 per ton ammonia, which is, then it still leaves a gap. Now the carbon credit, trade scheme is just being launched by BE. We are also a part of it. Probably to some extent, it can take care this viability gap. And then one has to address this need for initial capital investment in ammonia plants, either fresh, new ones, or intervention in the existing plant. Policy issues are many. As I already mentioned, this is all regulated sector. So what we are seeing with urea pricing and subsidy policy, or the so-called NBS scheme for decontrolled fertilizers, they have to take into account two things. One is, especially for urea, if you make an additional investment, capital investment, there has to be some provision. Secondly, if there is a viability gap of, let's say, $250, and you need 220 kg of ammonia per ton of DAP, which is the flagship product, accounting for 50% of non-urea products. So it's a gap of $50, $60. So either it is being, in spite of all the incentive given in Green Hydrogen Mission and the state governments, or there is a gap. If you really want to take it off quickly, provide additional subsidy there. You are already providing $300 per ton subsidy for DAP, let us say, which costs around 55,000 rupees imported DAP, where the subsidy is benchmarked with, and you have to sell it at about 27,000 rupees ton. then what could be the strategy? All non-urea products can be right away, switched to this thing. Then viability gap should be addressed at least for first 3 years or 4 years if you really want to take it you wanted to take it off. This is just a map where these non-urea fertilizers are present. There are 2, 3, one more in south around Tuticorin, where this ammonia demand is concentrated, and this some suggestion for location. With this, I will conclude this thing. I thought I'll just mention few things, and then now we can probably go ahead with the we have 45. How much time we have? 75 minutes total. So I'll request about 5 to 7 minutes or 10 minutes each panelist. And first of all, of course, Mr. Sanjay Sharma from SECI. They have been involved now after, all the policy making, etc. for green hydrogen. How do you deal with the, procurement and, finding market for green ammonia? So I'll request you, what are the challenges so far you have? Do you have any additional schemes for green ammonia producers? And as an aggregator for ammonia supply, supply and demand both, what is your experience so far and where we go from here? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nand. And I'm privileged to be here with the eminent panelist here. And the question you have asked, the challenges faced by us. See, we were struggling for completing the guidelines with the industry, with the help of fertilizer industry, with the stakeholders, our renewable developers, since 1.5 years or so. So after that, we could come out with the scheme. And the challenges were very, very great. One of the challenge was for production of the green ammonia or say green hydrogen, we need to have a cheap RE power. So if you consider that RE power, maybe if it is taken at solar or say wind both are intermittent. In the night time, you have to stop the electrolyzer and restart in the morning. That will again consume a lot of energy. So, and Dr. Nand has already mentioned that there is a huge gap between the green and gray ammonia or say hydrogen. So that was the big challenge, and the biggest challenge we have faced that our RE plants, all the investments are coming in the very beginning. At the same time, the off-takers maybe this fertilizer industry was not able to come out of their present mindset that they are having the contracts for 1 year or 2 years. So for that purpose, I think the RE developers may not be getting the lending. So that was the biggest challenge. And because of the Hindco's tender, we could convince them that the tenure for offtake should be the 10 years. So now we are moving ahead with the tender, and I will give you some brief about the tender, what we have floated. The total aggregate capacity we have floated is 739,000 metric ton per annum production. For offtake of 14 plants, out of these 14 plants, I think 11 are near or at the shore. So there is a potential, if off-takers are not ready, you can export it. Another thing is the incentive given by the government is for first 3 years is 8.82 rupees to on the third year it is 5.3 rupees. So after that there is no incentive. The best part is around the world, this is the biggest tender, and the off-takers for 10 years have already been tied up, which is not there in the Indco tender. So our developers are or producers are very, very confident that they will get 10 years buyer. And now we are convincing and trying to convince the off-takers that if it can be increased, maybe for 15 years or say 20 years, then the gap will further be reduced as feedback given by the industry. Apart from that, we have already completed under this green hydrogen mission program. We have awarded tenders for 1.5 gigawatt tranche 1 of electrolyzer manufacturing, wherein the subsidy of government is 2,220 crores. Second tranche has also been awarded on 26th August, again 1.5 gigawatt, and the subsidy is provided as 2,220 crores. Apart from that, we have also concluded the green hydrogen tender, wherein 412,000 metric ton per annum production, and the producers will get the subsidy of 3,500 and something crores. Apart from that, the two tenders are live right now. One is 450,000 megawatt, 450,000 metric ton per annum production of green hydrogen, that is on, and this fertilizer tender is also on. So we are moving much ahead of the globe, though we have started slightly late, and we have other challenges also in this journey. One challenge I could foresee that the price gap, how to fill it. If the prices goes high, maybe based on the realistic value our developers will quote or say manufacturers will quote. So how to bridge that gap, whether the fertilizer industry will be able to take that at the discovered price. That is the biggest challenge we are facing. Another challenge we are facing right now, we are just starting, so ecosystem is not in place. May it be transportation, whether the pipelines are better or say container kind of a thing is better, road infrastructure, offtake pooling station. Another challenge we are facing that most of the investment is coming from generation of the RE. So right now what we have faced that the evacuation system is not ready and that will not be available for next 3-4 years. So that is the biggest challenge price we are taking right now, and they have to supply after 4 years or so. So they may build some risk into the prices quoted. And the challenge, another challenge, what I can see during this journey, the clearances, maybe the water requirement, those may also come up in the time to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Now I invite Mr. Vivek Singla from Renew Energy. Pricing mechanism, policy schemes. Do you have any suggestion with the specific reference to fertilizers?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nand, and good afternoon, everyone. There is no denying the fact, as the earlier two speakers also have told, that green hydrogen, green ammonia, and its derivatives is a costly product. Despite all the support from the government of India, and minded government of India has been at the forefront of such policy development, the kind of support government of India and various state governments like UP and Odisha has been provided. I've gone through the policy of UP, which is a very attractive policy for establishing green hydrogen, green ammonia projects in the country. Despite all this support, etc., there is, as mentioned by Dr. Nand, there is a gap between green ammonia and grey ammonia. I would like to point out certain specific pointers which can help us reduce this gap. It will not be eliminated, but it can be reduced. See, the government of India has already come up with a lot of policies. For 100% export-oriented units, government has come up with the idea of establishing these process plants in SEZs, where, including the RE plants, which can be in SEZ, where the duty, etc., GST and import duty, etc., are waived off. And there are other benefits for establishing these plants there. What my concern is, see, 3 million ton of grey ammonia is still being imported into the country. And all this green ammonia which will be procured initially will be used to replace this green ammonia, this gray ammonia which is imported. So let's come to again to the concept of deemed export benefits. Let's get those benefits to the plants which will be supplying to the domestic industry. See, there's another benefit which these plants which will be supplying to the domestic industry will bring on the table. All export-oriented units of green hydrogen and green ammonia, the green attribute will go to that country. India will not be able to keep the green attribute of the country. Whereas if we are supplying green ammonia to the domestic industry, we get to keep the green attribute. So when we are able to save the foreign exchange on one hand, and we are able to keep the green attribute within the country, there is a very good case for providing the deemed export benefit, considering these plants at par with the 100% export-oriented units and pass on all those benefits which are available to 100% export-oriented units to these industries. This will really help in reducing some gap between green ammonia and gray ammonia. Second, this 3 million ton of gray ammonia is already being imported. It's the fertilizer industry is spending it in dollars. Let the contract be in dollar terms. Let the contract be packed to the USD so that these developers can get their investment and the debt in dollar terms, which is as of now at least 3 to 4% lower than the Indian rates. And all this benefit will pass on to the fertilizer industry. Again, just because of pegging it to the dollar terms, the cost can come down by around 15%. Third point, as of now, the fertilizer industry is used to short-term contracts because LNG price has been fluctuating, and the industry is very much used to fluctuation of prices over a period of time. This is a subsidized industry. A lot of subsidy is being provided by the government, and I'm sure that the government must be struggling to estimate exact amount of subsidy that they have to give each and every year. Green ammonia can solve that problem. If the contracts are for 25 years, I can give you certainty of price for next 25 years, which will help the government in estimating the exact amount of subsidy that they have to shell out over a period of time, without any doubt, without any uncertainty. Then another point for the fertilizer industry. See, in these green ammonia projects, the entire capex goes upfront. The OPEX is very, very low. Whether it is renewable plant, whether it is process plant, the capex goes up. So when you're asking for a 10-year contract, the developers are going to spread their risk over 10 years. The financial institutions are going to give you a loan of 9 years, 10 years only, and which will increase the cost of green ammonia over a period of 10 years. If you are going for a 25 years contract, first thing is your levelized tariff will go down. Second thing is, just imagine, these developers are giving you green ammonia price today for supply after 10 years. Just the NPV of that ammonia after 10 years today will be much lower. It's in the benefit of the fertilizer industry to go for 25-year contract. Another point which I would like to bring down is, some of the fertilizer industries, they are of the opinion that after 10 years, because of the efficiency improvement, because of the economies of scale, because of other things, the price of green ammonia will come down. And what happens to them when they tie it up for 25 years? See, I've been in power sector in this country for the last 35 years. None of the industry can keep on getting the support from the government of India or any other government, which this industry is getting as of now. These benefits will not be available over a period of time. Some people give me the example of renewable energy. It was 30 cents and it has come down to 3 cents. Believe me, when you are producing green ammonia, there are 3 parts to it: renewable power, electrolyzer, and the ammonia plant. All these are very mature industry now. They have been in use since time immemorial. There is some improvement, some chances, some probability of improvement in efficiency and the capex of electrolyzers. But it's not going to bring down the cost from, say, $800, $900, which people are talking about today, to say $80, $90 or $200. No. There is some efficiency which will come down, but at the same time, all these benefits which governments are offering today will not be available 10 years down the line. So over a period of time, according to me, either the prices are going to remain same or it may go up. Considering these things, the fertilizer industries may like to take it up appropriately with various regulatory bodies, with the government, etc., and ask for these benefits which are otherwise available to to the 100% export units and USD pack contract for 25 years, etc., the cost can really be come down and the uh, viability gap will get reduced significantly. Thank you very much.
I think it's very well understood that longer term contract are, we are going through this rigmarole for quite some time since we started this. And the entire thing which I was involved with, we started with green ammonia, basic report we prepared. Problem with the sector is this nothing in industry's hand. Today, there is a 80 to 85% subsidy on urea. This is not industry is doing. This is in government, it's wisdom for the farmers or for the food security of the country. I can sign a contract for 10 years. I means the industry can sign a contract for 10 years, but I don't know what will happen next year with the policy. And the subsidy levels are so high, the industry is not free to take their commercial decisions for investment or signing a contract. That we have probably elaborated when I was part of FAI to SECI also. And this is very well understood, what you are saying, all these points. But probably things are moving, will move faster. In fact, subsidy concessions are now announced crop-wise, twice a year under this decontrolled fertilizer, non-urea fertilizers. Anyway, we can discuss that. Then I will now invite Mr. Vinay, the Chief Sustainable Officer of Paradeep Phosphates, one of the largest consumer of imported ammonia at 3 locations, largest at Paradeep, and then of course at Goa and Mangalore. So what do you think? Can you sign 10-year contracts? Or what more needs to be done at what level as a part of a major player in this sector?
Thank you, Doctor. As you elaborated, it would be difficult for us to sign a long-term contract for obvious reasons, which you have also mentioned. I have a few points of view to present. Green hydrogen and green ammonia is a classical case study for the design thinking concept. As per this concept, the product design is the intersection of product desirability, technical feasibility, and economic viability. Product desirability is clear, near, and present with the obvious reasons of climate change. Technical feasibility is evident because the hydrogen has been a byproduct of the electrolysis carried out in the chloralkali industry for last several decades. And the technical feasibility of green ammonia also follows suit. The sticky issue is the economic viability. And one of the reasons for this is the fact that the specific energy consumption of green ammonia is much higher than the specific energy consumption of gray ammonia. Notwithstanding this gap in the specific energy consumption between green and gray, the possibility of coming to a convergence in terms of cost of ammonia, green ammonia specifically, is to reduce the RE power cost and as well as the electrolyzer cost. The RE power has already ridden the learning curve or the learning rate. The learning curve and learning rate in terms of the electrolyzer will follow the same pattern as the RE power. So that's what we'll be eagerly looking forward to. Under these circumstances, for obvious reasons of economic reasons, the adoption of green hydrogen in the existing gray ammonia plants as part of hybridization has these the economic challenges, in addition to the technical challenges Dr. Nand had already mentioned. As far as the green ammonia consumption in the P&K sector, because of these obvious economic reasons, there are challenges. One another aspect which I would like to touch upon and throw up for discussion is regarding the notified green hydrogen standard at 2 kg CO2 equivalent per kg of hydrogen. I think it's aspirational, it's good to have. However, I would think that, following the taking a cue from US, it would be better to have a more graded standard, because this 2 kg CO2 equivalent per kg of hydrogen looks to be more export oriented rather than for domestic consumption. If we have a graded sort of standards, then the scope can be expanded and the participation can be also increased. This will lead to the accelerated decarbonization drive for the country. Another aspect I would like to really throw open for discussion is the decentralization, decentralized production of green nitrogenous fertilizers. That also has to be taken care. I do understand that the centralized production will be advantageous in terms of economy of scale, but the decentralized production of green fertilizers, nitrogen-based fertilizers, should also be considered. Last point I would like to make is we need to revisit the use of liquid ammonia, or at least the aqua ammonia as direct fertilizer. This needs to be also taken into consideration, because at the end of the day, ammonia has the highest concentration of nitrogen in the fertilizer, which is at 82%. Thank you.
I think you made a very important point of the standards. I was looking at the data. Everywhere else it is higher, anywhere from 3 to 5 kg CO2 per kg of hydrogen. And obviously that will, bring down, it has cost implications. Now I invite Mr. Mehta, from ACME. And ACME by far probably the farthest on the road to green hydrogen and green ammonia. We had one-to-one discussion also with his company representatives. They had put a first green ammonia plant. I think it was 5 tons per day or what in Rajasthan. And now they are putting up a large plant in Oman, as well as in Odisha and, in Tamil Nadu. Now, what specifically, you can talk about it, what is your experience, but what kind of infrastructure, something has been already mentioned by the previous panelist, the infrastructure limitations for green ammonia production, and what could be additional financial instrument, which can facilitate the whole supply chain. In fact, yesterday itself, if all of you read Hindu Business Line, there is an editorial on a central page, and he has suggested, the author has suggested very, very innovative financial instruments, how it can be facilitated. For example, those companies who are issuing green bonds, they can be lent, for them the interest rate could be lower. 3-4 good suggestions you make. So do you have any suggestion as far as the financial instruments are concerned for this sector? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Nand, and privileged to be here. Based on our experience and the large scale green ammonia project which we are setting up at Odisha and Tamil Nadu, Mr. Nand already highlighted the gap between gray and green ammonia, and somewhere around $350 to $400. One news I would definitely like to tell you that many countries are in a race to supply the green ammonia to the various economies, developed economies, and India is one of the such country and ahead of it, given the policies by the our government. Now, talking about the infrastructures, what do we want in terms of the infrastructure for the green ammonia is to bring in the power and water to a process plant to produce the hydrogen and ammonia and to deliver that ammonia to the fertilizer plant in India. Now, looking at to gap, this infrastructure can play a very important role to reduce this gap. When it comes to power, in certain cases, power is generated in one state, most likely in the Rajasthan and Gujarat, and then bring it to the process plant where the green ammonia will be produced from green hydrogen. Important thing is that these infrastructures of setting up such a large scale renewable power required land and connectivity of the grid. So some kind of a solar park which can be made in those areas where there are better solar GHI can make ease to secure land acquisition. And the connectivity definitely play very, very important role. Of course, on the ISTS network, governments are already given the 25 years free wheeling of the power. But at the same time, when it comes to consumption in the green ammonia, if the same grade, if banking would be allowed in various states, then it will make a lot of sense for the green ammonia supply in India. Given that if banking is not allowed for producing green molecules, we need renewable powers, which can only be available when the sun is shining and wind is blowing. Then we need to have the additional electrolyzer to be put in the plant, and which will increase the capping and therefore the cost of the green ammonia. So wherever possible or whatever is possible, if this banking can be allowed for those green ammonia production plant as a part of the infrastructure, can definitely help to reduce the cost of the green hydrogen and ammonia. Now it comes to once and we are talking about economic scale. So at least, the plant should be located such a way that can have a minimum 100,000 ton per annum of capacity to bring the economy of scale. This point in time, the tender is for 739,000 ton per annum. So 100,000 should not be an issue. Less than that, will have an issue in terms of the cost of the ammonia. Now, once that ammonia is produced, it is very critical that that ammonia is delivered to the respective plant. Where there also infrastructures plays a very, very important role. Some of this ammonia plant, as Mr. Nand showed, are in the coastal areas of the eastern and western parts. So development in the port and the barges for supply of ammonia at the lowest possible cost would definitely be useful. And for those plant which are located in the landlocked areas where the train could be useful instead of tankers, because one can deliver by train at the lowest possible cost. So such kind of infrastructure for generation of the power and the distribution or supply of the ammonia to the customers would definitely be helpful and will help to reduce the gap between the gray and green hydrogen. Mr. Nand, you talked about the financial, some of the financial aspects, which can really be helpful. Like, at this point in time, let me tell you that, even the 100 basis point, if you reduce the interest rate, then the cost of ammonia can reduce by $30. So, which is significant. So if Mr. Nand already highlighted some kind of green bond, because this supply will be secure through SECI, even for 10 years, ideally should be 15, 25 years, but even for 10 years. And people who are financing that is a very secure finance, because it has been backed by the government. SECI is going to buy this fertilizer. So green bond makes a lot of sense, in the public to bring down the cost of the interest rate, which can help to reduce the cost of the ammonia. Yeah. Thank you.
So 1 minute, we'll just Momenta is there.
I will take in the next session.
Wonderfully, the session is going, and here I'll take out a minute to felicitate our chair. I would request Mr. Ravi Verma, member, Governing Council, sir, to please join us at the center, and let's take part as we felicitate our chair, Shri Narinder Bhooshan, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Sir, we wholeheartedly thank you for coming here. We have got a lot of learning from your keynote and your presence. Thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it an applause. Thank you. And here I'll request our moderator to please take the session forward. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please maintain the decorum of the room. Please be seated, and let's not lot around the room, and let's put all our attention back to the session. Thank you.
Okay, our next panelist, Mr. Narinder Goyal. And who will know better than anyone else of the panelists, having worked for 30 years in fertilizer industry. So how do you see the roadmap? And if at all, any suggestions for the adoption of green ammonia and fertilizers? Because this session is specifically for fertilizers. When rest of the 3 days conference is focused. Slide, if I can make. Sure. And if you can also comment, about the export potential of green ammonia.
Chairman, sir, Sanjay Sharma ji, Dr. Nand, eminent speakers, and my colleagues. As Dr. Nand has introduced me, I worked for about 32 years in Indian fertilizer industry, and last 2 years I'm working for green ammonia. So you can believe me, what I'm going to say, I will be on the neutral side. It is unfortunate when my friends from fertilizer speak about subsidy, speak about fertilizer industry facing financial issues in accepting green ammonia. My request to all of the fertilizer industry in India is kindly consider not only the balance sheets, consider what we are going to leave on this planet for our future generations. So this session was after lunch. I thought I'll be the first speaker, given the benefit of coming from fertilizer industry. So friends, I think you all had good lunch. The organizers are kind enough, but unfortunately, all are not so lucky on this planet. And thanks to the fertilizer industry. In fact, none of my the discussions here thank fertilizer industry. I must thank fertilizer industry. They are doing a phenomenal job. They are feeding the population. We are around 8 to 9 billion, and we will be soon 10 billion. Believe me, if synthetic fertilizers would not have been there, we may not have been sitting here ideally. So I must thank fertilizer industry for enabling the food security for India as well as for the rest of geographies. So when we are saying we are going to increase in population, that means we will be needing more fertilizer. And ammonia is the major component of all kinds of fertilizer, whether urea or non-urea fertilizers. The current demand is going to increase to 263 million by 2050. And India's demand is going to increase to 135 million. Friends, 54% of all fertilizers are made up with ammonia. And remaining, this 77% of production is consumed in making fertilizers, and the rest only 23% is in other applications like pharma, dye industry, so heavy chemicals, etc., etc. That is why the discussion of green ammonia in fertilizer industry is because it is the major consumer of green ammonia. So India as a country is the third largest manufacturer and second largest consumer too. That is why we are the net importer. Numbers are vary. My friends were telling 3 million and Dr. Nand said 2 million, but I am writing 2.5 million. But idea is that we are the net importer today, and almost entire quantum of this import is being used for diammonium phosphate and NPK fertilizers manufacturing. So this is the brief I will skip over. I feel there is a little time constraint. The carbon emissions in ammonia industry, I will explain here. In SMR route, you can see CO2 emission is there from the power we consume. CO2 emissions are there from steam methane reforming, and CO2 emissions are there if the ammonia is not used for urea manufacturing. On the contrast, you can see the left side of your slide. If water electrolysis process is used, I'm not venting any CO2. Gentlemen and ladies, we are actually venting oxygen, which is equivalent to the tree plantation. I will again skip few slides, and there are abatement options. My colleague Singla ji, just Vivek Singla ji talked about. We have to improve the processes. There are certain plants in India who are very efficient. In fact, I'm glad to share with you that the world's most efficient ammonia plant is located in India. And there are not so efficient as well. My request is that those plants has to debottleneck to consume less energy. And only another option is that instead of gas turbines on fossil fuel, let us try to use renewable energy to the maximum possible extent. It is cost economic as well. So I will skip some of them to go to the opportunities ahead. In fact, India from ancient times is energy importer. There is a historic moment for all of us, gentlemen and ladies. We can be energy exporter through green ammonia route. Simply why? We are the third largest manufacturer. We have the skilled manpower. We have sunshine to give us renewable energy. We have water resources. We have enough rain in this country, and we have land parcels available. So we have all the components required to make green ammonia and green hydrogen, through which this country can be surely energy exporter. As Dr. Nand requested me, how we can be the exporter, roadmap for that. I mentioned that we have the all required elements. Only support is needed in terms of infrastructure on the ports or near the ports, land parcel, water availability, and loading facilities. Of course, India is net importer. There are certain ports having facilities, but all the ports are not having. So India has to create those infrastructure at ports so that the project developers set up their plants near the port and export this energy. And cost wise, there were a lot of discussions. I want to give Dr. Nand, with your permission, my perspective. Just one liner. Yeah, just one liner. I'm already finished. See, any small child, when starts to walk, he needs support. But that doesn't mean his or her mother supports, but that doesn't mean that the kid itself doesn't try to walk. Ammonia industry, as the chairman mentioned, is in the nascent stages. We are in that age of our life cycle. We need support from our mother. The mother here of this kid is end users and Government of India. So please, my request is please support us in the initial phases. Industry is doing enough to be competitive. And just if you want me to tell the numbers, Dr. Nand mentioned $450 a ton. That is the FOB basis. If add the cost of handling and transportation, the landed cost at DAP manufacturer may be around $550. And the way we are working on to improve the efficiencies, 2 years ago, electricity consumption per kg of hydrogen was 55 units. Today it is 45 to 46 units. And there was a session on innovation thus before this. They are working still to reduce the hypothetical theoretical number is 39 units. And if I come to 39 units, Dr. Nand, I guarantee green ammonia producers will give the same cost as the imported cost is, but plus additional benefit that we will be having our food security on our own producers, not on the imported ammonia. Thank you very much.
I think if you noticed, he made a couple of important points. Rather than, everything's saving to the conclusion. One, of course, is, everybody is mentioning long-term average cost. And that means 5 years down the line, the cost will be lower, maybe of electrolyzers, maybe of, renewable energy. But it's crucial is first 3 years. So that is the gap which we have to fill up. You also probably alluded to, which we have been told, the industry has also been told, that captive power plants in all these things should be shut down and you should use the renewable electricity. There are challenges there in the sense that most of the plants, you know very well with the GTV, HRSG, then you will have to put an additional boiler. Which HRSG will also go away with that. There are a number of other, technical issues. I specifically did not get into all the background and technical things because I thought we should take off where, which is already established status of the industry. Now I invite our last panelist, Mr. Puneet Goyal from ICF, and they are very, renowned and reputed consultants, and energy transition is one of their areas, focus areas. So I'll again ask him the question whether the Indian green ammonia producers can have any advantage or competitive advantage over the other green ammonia producers, for example, to export to Europe, vis-a-vis from Middle East ammonia producer, or later on even from US. They also have a lot of, will have renewable energy right now. They have a very large program, in spite of being huge energy surplus, US being energy surplus, unless there is a regime change, the Inflation Reduction Act, giving a huge support for the renewables in US. So can we have any advantage? And if yes, what should we do? If no, what we should do to be competitive?
Thank you, sir. Thanks for all the presentations and all the discussions. So to answer your question, India do have certain advantages in terms of green ammonia. I will illustrate few of them. So one is the cost of renewables. With the development of solars and the investment government of India has done into the solars, the solar cost is 3 rupees per kilowatt hour or even less, which is significantly competitive against the world. I would not say it's one of the cheapest, but it's significantly competitive against the world. Other large piece that government of India and the industry has done very well is develop an ecosystem around the green ammonia. So apart from the cost, our ammonia ecosystems, our skilled laborers, we are producing 17 million tons of ammonia. So we have skilled laborers, we have good understanding, and we have a support ecosystem that was developed. That gives India certain advantage. The third good advantage India gets is a geographical location. We are situated where we could supply ammonia to the Far Eastern countries such as China, such as Japan, such as Korea, who has a large incentive of buying green ammonia. They have a commitment of anywhere between 3 million tons to 5 million tons of green ammonia. On the western side, we can supply it to from let's say state of Gujarat. We can supply it to Europe, which has a CBM norms, and they would require a green ammonia. So we are well placed to supply all of that. But for our exports to be really successful and to make a difference, we also should have some components of domestic consumption of those green ammonia. So domestic consumption has to form a core basis on which companies would take an investment decisions. The investment decisions cannot be purely based upon the exports. Exports market is competitive, so we believe that I say we believe that domestic consumptions along with an exports provide a good opportunity for green ammonia. We recently published a report on green hydrogen and the different subsidies that state and central governments are giving. And states like Odisha is standing out, where cost of grey ammonia would be very, very close to green ammonia because of the different subsidies that has been provided by the state government of Odisha. So some support in initial stages by the state government and central government, as well as our ecosystem, would enable us to develop a huge export potential of green ammonia as well as our own consumption of green ammonia. Thank you, sir.
5 minutes from the audience. Yes, please. The gentleman again. Yeah.
Yes, it's possible. Okay, get the senior most awesome. Is it coming loud enough? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Basically to fertilizer groups and using ammonia on a larger scale to fertilizer industry. My name is Venkat, CMD of Liason Advanced Technology. We've been working with Avaada for some time and also talked to ACME sometime about Hiren, you may remember. So what we are trying to say now, something new, is we are looking at distributed hydrogen from biomass and then leading to distributed ammonia. They have as low as 20,000 tons here, corresponding to 4,000 tons of hydrogen a year or something like that, which is funded by the SECI program. So my point is simple. Why not we revisit this ammonia straight away to use the fertilizer rather than go to all those DAP, etc. You know, US has been using it for a long time. So what is the real impediment? Is it technological barrier or it's a cost? What is it we are talking here? So that we can have, just like the distributed CBG, we can have distributed, we have enough biomass in the country to do that. And they're willing to provide the technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Venkat sir. Actually, you rightly said biomass-based hydrogen is a very sought after pathway. But the only problem is country like us, ours is the aggregation of biomass or agri-waste is not effectively possible or feasible, or it is seasonal. If if I set up a facility in North India, there is a seasonal availability. And again, the aggregation have its own challenges with the farming community. Thank you.
I think we will stop at that. We'll give another chance. The biomass, incidentally, green hydrogen from biomass is also classified as a green hydrogen, number one. Number two, biomass is also being worked upon directly as a fertilizer. Yeah. No, that gentleman who could not get the mic, he was the first one to ask, and he still can't get a mic. So that is something.
I have one question.
आप बोलिए ना, बिना mic के बोलिए. Question to whom? Can you address somebody?
Sir, I was asking to sir. Yeah.
उधर से शुरू कर रहे हैं.
So we are one of the largest SMR, based hydrogen supplier, as well as currently having 17 installations in electrolysis. So my question is that when we are talking about US, they're focusing on multi-fuels, as you know, from green to biofuel, then blue ammonia. So as we speak, currently around 20,000 to 30,000 tons per day of blue ammonia being developed in US, and they're already under construction stage. That makes a significant challenge to us because US is a very influential country, being influenced to different developed nations, as you know, in Korea, Japan, etc. So what do you think, what our government should do more to counter this so that our industries in green ammonia should have some more advantage with regards to that particular blue ammonia?
Sure. So yeah, well taken your point. US being a gas-rich nations, first is blue ammonia is easy for US where they are dependent on their domestic gas, not an imported gas, and being their influencer nation. But overall, if you look at any nation, the overall philosophy of procurement is to diversify both from a geopolitical risk as well as price risks. So we should not look at what US is doing to drive our strategy. We should look at where we have an advantage. Now, what government of India does an advantage is, as I mentioned, ecosystems, the incentives that they are producing now, as well as the common facilities. So I think Hirenji talked about the common facilities that are being developed. So common infrastructure, common facilities where multiple plants could come up. That would all reduce the overall cost of green ammonia. And at the end of the day, whether it's a South Korea, Japan, or even Europe, they would look at different suppliers and what are the price advantages that we could give. So that's our advantage. That's our focus should be more focused inwards rather than what US is doing.
Sir, my one question is, sir,
Sir,
like
I am the
ammonia
mic.
is synthesized by Haber-Bosch process. It is very energy extensive
Yeah,
process.
I am the mic.
So how do you have any new steps, new techniques for ammonia synthesis, so that we can reduce the cost of green ammonia synthesis, or we can like set up on-site ammonia production, like developed countries have, like they are trying to develop new techniques for ammonia synthesis. Can you elaborate about this? Or do you have any plan further for dedicated research institute for the fertilizer research or something ammonia synthesis based in our country?
Thank you. See, ammonia synthesis have only one reaction, that is Haber-Bosch process for last 100 years approximately.
Yes, sir.
That process is very much established, very much efficient, I should say. But to answer your question directly, there are certain pilot studies going on where people claim that they can directly create ammonia at the electrode of electrolyzers, but they are at a lab scale, right?
No, like thermal catalysis method, we can develop new catalyst so that we can
See,
reduce the operating condition.
Those improvements, as I mentioned while I was at podium, world's most efficient plant is located in India. That is because of the innovative design and including the innovative catalyst and innovative operations thereafter.
That is developed 100 years ago, but
No,
we have
catalyst
to focus
catalyst is developed 5-10 years ago only. There is a continuous improvements in the process catalyst for ammonia synthesis.
But our country is not too much focused on this.
हाँ, ये क्वेश्चन हम साइड में बात कर लेते हैं. मैं
बाद में बात कर लेते हैं. As far as your question is concerned, as Mr. Goyal mentioned, there is also already R&D going on, direct synthesis through electrolysis process of ammonia. But nothing has been reached a stage. Similarly, there are other methods are being, but they are all at laboratory stage for synthesis of ammonia. So this Haber-Bosch process for now remains. You have to be satisfied with this. And yeah, we will please move on. If you have more questions, please ask on technology also after the.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shiromani and I'm from ACME Cleantech.
Last question, please. Last
one of the leading IPP companies in the country and developer of green hydrogen, green ammonia projects. First of all, thank you for such an engaging session. Thank you, sir, for moderating in such a fabulous way. And I must congratulate Mr. V. Vinay for bringing out a very important aspect of ammonia being used as a fertilizer directly, either through anhydrous application or through aqueous form. So I have a first an observation, and then I'll come to the question. The observation is that world over, especially in the US, almost 21 million metric tons of ammonia nitrogen fertilizer is being used, out of which 1/3 is used directly as anhydrous fertilizer directly in the field. That is one. Other than US, in Europe also the same phenomenon happens. Now coming back to India, my question to you or to the other panel members is, what is hindering us? What exactly stops? There have been instances.
Okay, we take your question. What you are saying, directly injecting anhydrous ammonia into the soil.
And also aqueous ammonia.
Probably we can discuss later. That will not reduce the, demand for ammonia. But because of our climate and logistics, we have not been able to do it. Only US is doing, but that is also very at a smaller scale. At the last, of course, it's a much more older information. They were using significant 10, 15, 20% of nitrogen application through direct application, but this is not possible under the logistics of in India. With that, we will conclude the session. Please, I have been reminded by the organizer, I can sit here till 6 o'clock, but there has to be this another thing, which is that time cannot be manufactured, Only thing I'll mention, something was mentioned about other incentive, and I will now recall that Honorable Minister used to take meeting in MNRE, and after these incentive under Green Hydrogen Mission, in fact, he raised this question: what could be other, other than fiscal incentive, what could be the other incentive, whether it is an import duty? You mentioned about the, deemed export and et cetera. So yes, we should work on. We can't afford to neglect anything to make it feasible. And thank you all. Thank you very much. It has been very gainful and useful session. Thank you very much. There is one more thing on agenda, which organizers will take over.
Thank you so much, sir. And I really would like to apologize to all of us who have questions. You can connect with the sir and our panelists later on, but we have to take care of the time here. Thank you so much to all our panelists, our speakers, and our moderator. What a session. Very, very wonderful session. Can we give them a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Please be joined. Please be seated. For the launch of a relevant report, I would like to invite P. Rahul sir from NTPC and requesting also Rolf Bonnet sir to please join us on the podium.
I know. I'm not making any.
Good afternoon. It was a wonderful session. Thanks to the chair and all the panelists and to the wonderful audience. There's a report launch which NTPC has done along with Indo-German Energy Forum. So I'll be making a very brief presentation on that, and then we'll have the launching ceremony. So this is very relevant to the session we have. It's for 1,000 tons per day of green ammonia production in the western regions of the country, in the Kutch district of Gujarat. And if you see here, we have worked out the costs in terms of its capex and also in terms of the levelized cost of ammonia. It was early days study, but I think it is very relevant in terms of getting to know what the technology is. And then if you see, this plant is designed for a 1,300 TPD capacity, producing around 1,000 tons per day and producing as per the specification of grade 2 IS 1662, where 99.5% purity is desired with maximum 5.5% of moisture and 10% of oil. And this also gives you a layout of a typical green ammonia station. You also get to know about the technology involved, the electrolyzers, how we have designed and sized the equipments, the capacity and the technologies involved, and how much of water is required and what capacity of hydrogen actually is required for 1,000 tons per day of production, what range of storage is required as a buffer. There's also a mention of the manpower projection that is needed. That is also a very pertinent point in terms of developing the skill. And then we have mentioned extensively what the safety standards are and what clearances are required to go ahead with commissioning of the plant. Then different kinds of permits also we have mentioned. These are only part of the permits that are mentioned here. You'll find the exhaustive list. So now this report is available to all, and this is not something very privy. Now all can access and get to know more about the production of green ammonia. So this QR code you can all scan and download the report. So it's a very first hand information and not supposedly classified. And we thanks to the GIS the team for launching the report. Now we'll have the launching ceremony.
May I please invite all our panelists, our moderator to please join us at the center. Also requesting Panda sir, Rolf, Ramajan sir to please join us at the center. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request all of us to please take part in the moment by giving a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you. And along with this, we are launching one more report. And for that, I would request Mr. Karan Kothariya from CEEW to please join us on the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, and I would request all of us to please put our attention right here on the podium, requesting Mr. Karan Kothariya to please join us on the podium. And he is here joining us to launch another report that you all can see here, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't we give a round of applause? Thank you so much. Thank you.
With the permission of the moderators and the esteemed dignitaries on the dais, I'd maybe like to take just 5 minutes to share the key findings of the report, sir. Yes. I must also mention that we had the privilege of Dr. Nand being an expert peer reviewer on the project. Thank you, sir, for all your contribution. I'm Karan Kothariya, and I'll be presenting key findings on the economic feasibility of green ammonia use in India's fertilizer sector today. The Council on Energy, Environment and Water is a not-for-profit think tank organization which is on a mission to impact sustainable development at scale. We have 3 pillars of work: transformations, quality of life, and enablers. I'll jump into the key findings of the report. We've heard that the fertilizer production requires 19 MTPA, around 19 MTPA of ammonia. And also around 25 to 27 MTPAs of ammonia is consumed in the form of indirect embedded of ammonia that's consumed in fertilizer end products that are imported. A key thing to notice, 84% of this total ammonia goes through the route of urea, and around 86% of the total ammonia that is consumed in India is dependent on imports, either of natural gas or of imported ammonia directly or indirectly. We find that there is a great variability in the cost, the gray ammonia cost that we had estimated for the financial years that we're seeing on the screen. There is a 1.2 to 2.2x premium for urea than for non-urea fertilizers in gray ammonia costs than it is for urea is the observation from the study. We also see that in FY 2022-23, as Dr. Nand mentioned, it was an anomaly year, but the costs of gray ammonia were way above even green ammonia costs that could be seen in the near future. While it was an episodic moment, these sort of disruptions in supply chains could also happen in the future. This is a key chart from the study wherein we've tried to project the sensitivities associated with the incremental cost of green ammonia blending in urea as well as non-urea fertilizers. What we've done is consider 3 parameters: the green ammonia blending percentage, the levelized cost of green ammonia, and compared it against the delivered cost of natural gas for urea or the gray ammonia cost for non-urea fertilizers. And this provides a projection of how the incremental cost can vary with a shift in these parameters, which is very critical to understand because all of these are market dependent commodities. Lastly, we see that the incremental burden, if the government were to support this transition fully, would be around 3 to 14% on the domestic urea production subsidy, whereas it would range from around -1% to 6% in the years considered for non-urea fertilizers. Clearly, green ammonia blending is more economical on a relative as well as an absolute basis, is what we found. We outline a few policy recommendations, such as prioritizing the transition of non-urea fertilizers because of economic viability, the import substitution that we can achieve, and technical ease. Reducing the cost of capital for green hydrogen, green ammonia infrastructure. We estimate that a 5 percentage point reduction in cost of capital could reduce the cost of ammonia by around 23%. That's a big number. We recommend including the fertilizer sector in the Indian carbon market, as the production end of the sector could become very well net negative with green ammonia blending in urea fertilizers as a carbon capture and utilization pathway. And finally, we cannot sidestep urea, as we've seen. So we recommend that we investigate pathways to utilize green ammonia and nitrogen delivery to crops, either through pilot projects for urea blending or by promoting alternative nitrogenous fertilizers. With that, I'd conclude my presentation. Thank you so much for giving me the time. The QR code, if you could please show, is available, and the study could be downloaded from the website. The last page, sir. Thank you. Yes, they're bringing it up. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karan. Thank you so much for taking us through all the details of this great report. Thank you. And now we move towards felicitating our moderators, our moderator and our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request all of you to please take part. I would request our moderator, Shri S. Nand sir, to please join us at the center. And to felicitate, sir, I would request Mr. Ravi Verma, Member, Governing Council, SPDA, sir, to please join us at the center, and let's take part as we felicitate our moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful session that we all have witnessed. So much to learn, so much to take away. Great and very, very insightful session for all of us. Thank you. Now requesting Shri Sanjay Sharma, sir, to please join us at the center, Director SECI. Thank you, sir, for sharing the great insight, the great information. Extremely thankful to have you here. Now requesting Shri Narinder Goyal, sir, President, Green Ammonia Business Avaada Group, to please join us at the center. Your great in-depth knowledge in the field has helped us a lot. Now requesting Shri Hiren Mehta, sir, Chief Commercial Officer, ACME, to please join us at the center. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now requesting Shri Vivek Singla, sir, President and Head, Green Hydrogen Business Renew, to please join us at the center. Ladies and gentlemen, we are felicitating requesting Shri V. Vivek, sir, Chief Sustainability Officer, Paradeep Phosphates, to please join us at the center. The great work you do and the great learning we have had with your presence. Thank you so much. Now requesting Shri Puneet Goyal, Director ICF, to please join us at the center. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big hand. Thank you so much. Thank you. Requesting our moderator, all our panelists, let's join us at the center. Let's all come forward and join us for a group photo. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we had a great session, wonderful day filled with learning, great insights, because we had eminent speakers, great experts in their field who taught us a lot in this day. Let's give them a big hand once again. And here we present our moderator. Thank you so much, S. Nand, moderator, sir, for conducting the session so well. And thank you so much to all our panelists for sharing the great insight. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Nand, thank you very much.
Sorry, just dropping it here.